Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, 17th of November. My focus today, food security. I'll be speaking to Khadijah Iskandar, covering President and Chief Executive Officer at Agrobank on Budget 2021 in food security. And also get ready for another Malaysia Boleh moment. So Wai Ching, Malaysia's tar runner, ranked first in Asia and second in the world. He'll be joining me to speak to all of us about his tar attempt tomorrow. I'm Jessy Chahal. This is the Midday Update. We begin with a brief overview of what's happening globally and nationally with regards to COVID-19. It's affecting 218 countries and territories around the world. And as of broadcast time today, globally, COVID-19 has recorded more than 55.3 million cases with more than 1.3 million deaths. The US, India and Brazil lead in terms of number of cases globally. Now, as for Malaysia, 48,520 cases have been recorded, death toll at 313. Now, here's an update on the vaccine development. US pharma firm Moderna claims its COVID-19 vaccine is 94.5% effective. This news comes a week after Pfizer and German drug maker BioNTech announced a vaccine of their own at a claimed efficacy rate of 90%. Well, Malaysia wants to ramp up efforts to boost paddy production so that the country will be more self-sufficient and ready to face situations that may affect the supply of the staple grain. According to Agriculture and Food Industries Minister Datuk Sri Ronald Kiandi, the government aims to raise production up to 75% to meet the country's needs. He says that Malaysia will revisit the 70-30 policy. Now, what does this all mean for us? Basically, we have been comfortable with producing 70% of our rice needs and importing 30% of it for a while. But with borders closed now because of COVID-19, we face some obstacles in our rice imports. 4.79 billion has been allocated in the budget 2021 to bolster efforts to increase the country's paddy production. And now, out of that amount, 3.28 billion has been set aside for operating expenditure. About 1.7 billion ringgit will be used for incentives and subsidies to assist farmers and fishermen. 960 million ringgit has also been set aside to subsidize and incentivize rice production. And also another 40 million has been set aside for subsidies assistance for hill rice fertilizers. Well, joining me on the phone now as we seg into our conversation about food security is our guest CEO of Agrobank, as well as the president, Puan Khadijah Iskandar, covering President and CEO of Agrobank. We're going to talk about Budget 2021 in the perspective of food security. Puan Khadijah, thanks for joining us. Now, firstly, we'd like to, of course, get down to your thoughts on Budget 2021. What were some of your observations and some of your opinion?
Budget 2021 is the largest budget in the nation's history at a time when the country is facing an unprecedented crisis of the COVID-19 pandemic. We in Agrobank are delighted to note that Budget 2021 theme, Stand United, We Shall Prevail, has outlined a wide range of initiatives, action plans, fiscal measures and incentives addressing challenges brought about by the global pandemic that have caused economic uncertainties. Budget 2021 shows a strong commitment by the government towards ensuring economic expansion while taking into consideration the well-being of the people to weather the impact of COVID-19. We appreciate the government's efforts to ensure the 2021 budget will be inclusive, responsible and comprehensive towards achieving sustainable economic growth by taking into consideration of the interests of all groups in the country as the citizens of Malaysia, especially in facing challenges due to the current bleak economy.
Well, what is your opinion on food security levels in the country, especially now that we're in the midst of a pandemic?
Food security has been a crucial issue to policymakers even prior to the pandemic. In fact, the strengthening food security is more important than ever given the economic impact of COVID-19 now, as two countries have imposed restrictions on food exports to protect their own citizens. This would have adverse impact on a country like Malaysia that relies on food imports such as animal feed, meat, dairy products, and vegetables. Notably, these disruptions in the food supply chain and panic buying by Malaysian consumers was short-lived and has been averted as the food industry has been allowed to operate and recover during the MCO period. During the early stage of the first MCO, there were issues with regard to supply chains where goods produced by the farmers was not able to reach the consumer. And we saw in the news that farmers dumping hard-grown produce and plowing back crops back into the field while the department stores were empty. A robust and diverse food supply is an essential part of the health and nutrition response to infectious disease. Measures under Prihatin Penjana involving billions to assist the agri-food sector, and SMEs have contributed to stabilizing the production and supply of food. It is high time for us to realize that food is no longer just food, but part of complex supply chain.
Right. What would you say are the country's challenges in ensuring food security at this point?
For Malaysia, only about a quarter of its food is imported. However, there are some challenges that Malaysia does need to address that contribute to the vital parts of food security. First of all is the labour shortage. These are the main challenges for the sector because growing food requires a lot of manpower as the turnover rate is high, and farmers need to use a lot of fertilizers and pesticides as well. And these products are mainly imported, and it's getting increasingly expensive due to weak ringgit. Yeah, and incentives are also being provided in Budget 2021 to modernize the agriculture sector, increase the use of automation, and reduce dependency on foreign labor will hopefully attract more young people to get into agriculture industry. Another challenge is also with regards to increasing competition for land and rising environmental concerns have limited the land available for agriculture activities. We notice that most lands in the country now are being cultivated for palm oil compared with just 1 million hectares for food crops. And on top of that, agricultural lands have been converted to housing and industrial areas. So those are the challenges in this industry.
That's right. A quick point here to note, as the host country of the APEC meeting this year, Malaysia is in a pretty good position to lead further discussions on regional food security. And from that, let's look at Malaysia trying to prep up for 2021 with regards to food security and supporting sector. What do you see from this point of view as important, Puan Khadijah?
The large budget for 2021 is aimed at reviving the Malaysian economy and to nurse it back to health after the challenges that we face. On top of that, there are several initiatives made by government in Budget 2021, which was carefully curated to benefit the agro community across all major races and segments like SMEs as well as B40 and M40 income groups. The initiatives to these communities, some of them are the RM95 million microcredit financing to empower women entrepreneurs through Agrobank and other government agencies, as well as enhanced targeted moratorium and repayment assistance for B40 and M40, where the process has been simplified and less documents are required for customers to come to the banks and apply for moratorium and repayment assistance. And there are also funds for modernization, vessel modernization with value of 150 million, as well as for agro-food value chain modernization. And we have also allocation of 30 million for expansion of community farming program for the semi-urban and rural communities, as well as implementation of organic agri project worth 15 million, which is expected to benefit about 1,000 communities. And the implementation of impactful and high-value farming projects with an allocation of 100 million through collaboration with state governments, such as pineapple farming in Johor and freshwater prawns in Negeri Sembilan. the implementation of an agriculture development program with an allocation of 10 million ringgit through matching grants up to 20,000 for micro entrepreneurs to buy equipment to develop high-value agriculture. So if you notice that this allocation actually will empower the women entrepreneurs through Agrobank and other government agencies as well, which will be able to provide working capital and to help those to help create more job opportunities, especially for women and for those who have lost their job. Yeah? So
that's right. I think that's a
Agrobank.
salient summary and a great observation as to Budget 2021 in terms of food security. Thank you very much, Pon. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Of course, weighing in as well on food security from the Budget 2021 perspective. A quick reminder, as the host country of the APEC meeting this year, Malaysia, of course, is in a strategic position to lead further discussions on regional food security. Now, just to very quickly recap, the issue of food security was already factored in earlier in the year. Earlier in this year, in March, in fact, before the budget, way before the budget, the Prime Minister had already taken into consideration the issue of food security. And during the early days of the MCO, the government announced a 1 billion ringgit allocation for the nation's food security fund. The government also allocated at that point 100 million towards the development of food storage and distribution infrastructure, which includes integrated planting. Furthermore, special funds of between 100,000 and 200,000 have been allocated to each farmers' organisation and fishermen's organisation that are able to develop short-term agro-food projects that can produce food within 3 to 6 months to ensure food supply is sufficient. Now, the funds that were granted to these organisations then amounted to a total of 64.4 million ringgit. We'll take a quick break right now here on the Midday Update. When we come back, international news. See you in just a moment.
Hei, nak keluar ke tu? Kes dah banyak ni. Ingat 3W. Wash, basuh tangan. Wear, pakai pelitup muka. Dan warn, ingat peringatan KKM. Tak payah salam atau laga badan. Kalau batuk dan bersin, tutup mulut. Sakit, jumpa doktor. Tempat yang selalu disentuh, basuh. Patuhi kepada SOP. Ikut syarat PKPP. Lindungi orang berisiko tinggi. Jaga penjarakan fizikal. COVID-19 tak pilih mangsa. Semua boleh kena. Sama-sama kita jaga kita.
Budayakan norma baru. Bersama-sama kita putuskan rantaian COVID-19.